We're talking about a man who I'm sure will give us enough to talk about no matter how his season goes. That's invariably what Chris Gayle tends to do every season. We're going to talk about how big a threat is the big man, Chris Gayle. And we're going to look at some numbers now and then put it to Brad and Gaurav on is Chris Gayle still as big a force or as big a threat as he's been in previous seasons. We know in some records he's second to none. But if we look at his numbers last few years, an average of 59 2 years ago, that's declined to 30 and just 17 in T20s in this calendar year. So I must ask the accountant now whether he is a depreciating asset. Is Chris Gayle. Again, 45 seconds to tell me if bowlers should still fear Chris Gayle as much as they used to. Your time starts now.
He's probably depreciating. Yes, his numbers don't look good at this present moment, but it's when you bowl against him, he's a huge threat. You're always worried against him, and it's difficult with opposition teams because you know that if he gets in, he's going to hit you for boundaries. But he's only one-dimensional now. He's a liability in the field, and he doesn't rotate the strike. So 48% of his balls bowled to him are dot balls, but he scores 78% of his runs are in boundaries. So he sits there, gets himself in and just tries to hit boundaries. But out the other end, you've got Kohli, De Villiers, Watson. They've got to wait out the other end and they don't get enough balls to get settled. So then they've got to play big shots and play riskier too early. All
right, well, almost got that spot on. Would you still think he's someone you can build your batting around? Or is he a bit of a liability to carry, Chris Gayle?
You can build your batting around him. I'd like to see him bat down the order in those latter overs now because you've got the likes of Kohli, De Villiers when they're fit back into that team. They like to work the fielders, turn ones into twos, run hard between the wickets. And I think that's where RCB lose a lot of runs with Chris Gayle out there just dotting it up and not allowing those guys to rotate the strike.
Well, that's an interesting one. Ever thought of Chris Gayle batting somewhere in the middle? It just doesn't feel right, or we can't imagine it. Some more numbers for you before I go to Gaurav Kalra, which will also tell you, and maybe this adds to what Brad was saying, because his number of 50-plus scores have gone down between 2011 and 2013. Came every 2.3 innings, and it's coming every 7 games or so now. So now he's not quite getting the big scores that we want Chris Gayle at the top to get. So Gaurav Kalra, same one to you. Brad's thrown up an interesting debate. Should they look at batting Chris Gayle somewhere else? And your 45 seconds start now.
Well, you know, Ronak, my view is slightly different to the test cricketers' view here, because I do think that in a team such as RCB, you need a game breaker of the kind that Chris Gayle is. Also, at the start of the season now, they have no option but to start with him simply because they don't have players such as Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers available starting off the season. So the experience, the ability that he has to break games that we've seen in the past, and given the fact that here's a batsman who can off his own bat win you matches, I don't think you play him in a different position till the time that he's really not pulling things off for you in the first 5 or 6 matches. Then you have a rethink.
All right. You know, if he smashes like 170 of 50 balls tonight, this is not going to look very good on us, but we're just presenting the facts. Thank you very much, Brad Hogg and Gaurav Kalra. We'll see how Chris Gayle goes in this opening encounter, but keep your eye on what the accountant has said is a depreciating asset.